Today I'd like to look at the Samurai Taisho Darth Vader from Bandai. And this is an import. It's a Japanese figure. And it's part of their movie realization line, which is a line of figures that sort of reimagine Star Wars characters as if they were samurai, general, or a foot soldier, or a ronin, which is a masterless samurai. That kind of thing. And this is one of the first figures in the line. It's actually getting relatively difficult to find, at least at the original price, which was, I think, well, in the United States, around $80 or $90. And now if you want it, you're going to be spending probably over $100 easily. It's a 6-inch figure, or roughly 6 inches. I'll do a comparison in a minute with the Black Series Darth Vader, but it does seem a little bit bigger in scale than maybe the Black Series. But as long as they're internally consistent, I don't really care. As long as their Stormtrooper is shorter than their Darth Vader, I'm okay, because I'm not going to be displaying these with other figures, I don't think. He comes with an ignited saber and an unignited saber. The unignited one, well, actually both of them will fit on his belt. This looks pretty cool. I mean, it's a samurai sword, katana version of Vader's saber. I'm not sure if we're supposed to believe that this is sort of a translucent red metal, or if they actually have lightsabers in this alternate universe that these figures inhabit. I don't know, but either way, it looks pretty cool. He comes with 8 hands, 4 sets of right and left hands. These are sort of a splayed hand. These are lightsaber gripping hands. We have here what appears to be a kind of a trigger hand, but he doesn't actually come with anything that seems appropriate for this. And then finally, some fists. I think this kind of pose is probably going to be the primary use for the fist hands. Although I'm mostly going to be using, I think, one of the splayed hands and one of the saber-holding hands, as I showed earlier. Because, you want to show the saber, it's cool, and you want to have the other hand sort of doing something dynamic, so it seems like the most natural choice to me. You could also use what I called those trigger hands for a similar kind of pose, or I think, maybe they were intending this to be a force choke kind of thing, like that. I don't know. Yeah, I think you could make it a force choke, or even just sort of a gesturing hand. So it's useful to have these additional ones. But as I say, I'm probably going to stick with the saber hand and the other splayed hand. Although, I might mix it up occasionally. Now, the hands are a little bit hard to get on and off, mostly hard to get on, although I've certainly had much worse. Interestingly enough, the arms, though, pop off fairly easily. It was about 5 seconds after I opened this for the first time, I was like trying to pose him or something, and it came right off like that. I was a little bit taken aback, but luckily, just like the hands, these pop right back in. That didn't go in. Easier to get off than to get back in, though. There we go. So, yeah. In terms of articulation, he's got a reasonable amount. He's got a ball joint, I guess, here, and up and down. Knees have a fair amount of articulation, although this limits it a little bit. He's got that. I think, you can't really get him in too dynamic of a pose, but you can certainly do quite a bit with his upper body, and that's all I really need from him, I think. Now, if we want to compare him with the Black Series Vader figure, it might be interesting. You can see he's a bit taller. We can also see where they have gotten inspiration from the original Vader outfit. So, starting at the top, there's obviously the helmet is heavily influenced by the Vader, but Vader himself, his helmet was originally based, at least partially, on samurai helmets, so it's sort of come full circle in a way. They've gone with a sort of a bared teeth look here, and a little bit of a mustache, I believe, which is totally, I think, historically accurate, or plausible anyway. This kind of face is not unusual. Got the Imperial crest here, and going back down here, we see he's got on his chest plate, things that resemble the switchbacks on Vader. I guess these are, you might think these are jewels or something. He's got similar, so you know, this part is kind of similar to these, and the boots as well are not that different, even though they are very Japanese looking, not all that different in terms of their design. Of course, one big difference between these two figures is that this one uses soft goods, whereas this uses a hard, relatively hard, rubbery cape. And I think that's probably the way to go with this one, because it just looks better, and you're not going to be getting a lot of posing. Well, it doesn't really limit the posing all that much because it's already limited to begin with. This is a very impressively painted figure. It's not like flamboyantly painted. I mean, there's not a lot of paint on here, that at least in terms of a lot of colors. But what is there is very well done. Very little in the way of slop or you know, improperly applied colors and things like that. It really looks pretty much impeccable. I am actually a Japanese translator by profession. And I've lived in Japan for a number of years. I don't live there now, but I have certainly some connections and affection for Japan, and I speak and read and write the language, so this is definitely a line that's right up my alley, and I think I'm going to be probably collecting the whole line and displaying them all together. I think it'll be pretty awesome. It's early enough on that if you wanted to start collecting this, you could still start. This is perhaps the figure that's going to be the hardest to find, but they are coming out with a new version of it, maybe for that reason. That's relatively similar to this, although it's got a Death Star themed crest. I'll put up an image for you right there, and it looks. I don't like it as well, but it, you know, some people have been a little critical of that design, but it's actually not that far off from what we see historically. They had some really crazy crests on ancient samurai armor, so I think it's plausible. In any case, yeah, I plan to get more of these and review more of them in the future. What do you think of this line? Would you be interested in collecting it? Let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching.